Real quick video this morning. Really think I'm onto something. 2 or 3 days ago, my Tony up in Minnesota talked about skip rows, and I got thinking about that with our 20-inch rows. And I think I have the schematics figured out for the manure tank that I want and manure strip till. So we'll go through this. This is a 3 crops in 2 years with 3 passes of twin 20-row corn with a skip row back to 20s. We put a weed in between that 20-inch row. Underneath is manure, and then relay beans to space it out and really leverage the manure, make it more just in time, and leverage that plant flex. So the way the bar will look on 120-inch spacing tracks, so that'll go under, the knives will be right behind that. So you'll have 5 shanks, which is 25 feet, but when you turn, that'll make a 30-foot controlled traffic system. So again, we won't scale this across our entire 3,000 acres. It'll be, you know, how dry is it in the spring, and we'll figure that out as we go. But the ideal here is to go out in the spring and put manure in 60-inch bands, straddle that so you'll have a 10-inch gap, so you won't burn the seed, and you'll have twin 20-inch corn with a 40-inch gap. Then you can come back in at V5, V3, you know, anywhere in that. We can get a little ground clearance on that and lay a bead, maybe a heavier bead of manure in between each one of them skip rows. We can apply cover crops at the same time there and really get a bigger cover crop. And then all these leaves, you know, the plant will have 20 right here, but it'll have 40 on the edge. So each one of them leaves will be a factory to catch more sunlight, and I think we can increase yields here. But the point is, we use only pure manure. So once we shell the corn, we come back and inject manure in between these corn rows in 60s, and we plant wheat. Now, I don't know if we would blow wheat in that trench up top, or straddle it with 15-inch rows, or triple 7.5s, but somewhere in that 15-inch wide. And then we build, because we have all this tillering and it's crowded in the middle, we build these ginormous half circles. But that frees up 45 inches now for relay crop soybeans. So I want the wheat to completely exhaust the nitrogen. That's what I did out there, and I might be able to add a few bushels adding nitrogen, but I can cut my cost just using purely manure. And if the wheat loses a little bit of vigor on the back half, it's just going to help these relay beans out. So that's what we're going to work with. I got about 600 acres of beans still to spray, and then I'm pretty much freed up. So we're going to go work on this system here and hopefully have it implemented for this fall. But this would be 3 crops, 3 passes of manure, cover crops. We can get this cover crop huge, and it can just grab anything that the corn doesn't use, and when it dies and decays, we get that microbial life, the worms and all this will break it down, and that'll give this wheat a secondary feeding. And then when we use dicamba, you know, we can put maybe a hairy vetch or something like. I don't know if we can kill hairy vetch with dicamba. If somebody's watching this, they can answer that with purely dicamba alone. Radishes, hairy vetch, maybe a little bit of clover in there, and just get a bigger one, and that'll look really cool. A real big cover crop with fresh grown weed off manure in the fall, just getting a lot more vigor there. So anyway, I had to write this down, keep thinking about it. Good day.